All right, let me give you my theory since we're talking vice presidential sweepstakes here in the 2024 race. You know, a lot of big stuff coming down the pike here, and we better be ready. We better gird our loins. Why do I like that phrase so much? I guess because it sounds a little naughty. It just means be prepared, you know? Just gird your loins because they're going to come at us. They're throwing everything they can at us, and we better be prepared big time. So who will Trump's vice presidential running mate be? He's dropped a lot of hints, and a lot of people are mentioning Doug Burgum. Now, a few of the polls seem to be shifting. Whatever you think of polls, I don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you what they're saying. The Fox News poll comes out, shows Biden leading Trump 50 to 48% nationally. There was another poll, I think, either this morning or maybe last night, a Siena poll, I think, a Siena New York Times poll, shows the same kind of shift. And, of course, they're attributing it to his ridiculous 34 felony convictions in New York City. And people are shifting away from Trump, or so the narrative goes, because of Alvin Bragg's prosecution of President Trump in the Biden donor judge's courtroom, Juan Marchand. Here's my theory. If Trump world thinks that he's losing momentum, they might turn to a vice presidential running mate that's kind of out of the clear blue, that's sort of a Hail Mary, that could really shake it up. Right now, they're talking about, maybe, and incidentally, J.D. Vance lives in Cincinnati. I don't know what that young lady was talking about who called from Dayton. He lives in Cincinnati, and he's lived in Cincinnati for some time. So I don't know what she was referring to, accusing Senator Vance of not living in the Buckeye State. That apparently was not true. Anyway, I like J.D. Vance. I like Vivek Ramaswamy. I like Tim Scott. I mean, I don't dislike anybody on the short list. I sure don't like Nikki Haley as a vice presidential running mate, but it sounds like Trump's got a lot of safe, solid options. But safe and solid might not cut it. You may have to throw deep. You might have to pull a Hail Mary if the polling suggests that Trump's momentum is dwindling. Well, there's one guy. There's one guy that he could pick that would do that. Gary in Tampa knows who it is. I know who it is. Gary and you are in agreement that if Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis joined forces and Ron DeSantis was his vice presidential running mate, he wins in a landslide.
Yeah, hey, Mike.
Hey.
Yeah, throw that list out. It's got to be our governor, Ron DeSantis. We have a country to save. We can't we can't take any chances this round.
Can't play games. I mean, we got a country to save. The country is going up in flames. We're in big trouble here.
That's right, sir.
And it's bad. And so, you know what happens, I think, Gary, and tell me if you agree with me. There's a lot of conventional wisdom going on. Oh, well, you got to have this pick based on that. Listen, the nation is at stake. We cannot afford 4 years of, first of all, we're not going to get 4 years of Joe Biden, but we can't afford 4 years of whoever the Democrats will have at the top of the chain. You got to tell me, you're going to tell me Trump DeSantis doesn't win in a landslide? Of course it does. Why would they be opposed to this, Gary?
Yeah, I don't know, Mike, but we need capability in Washington, and we need, we need doers. We need Mike, Ron DeSantis. I see him, leave him to clean up the agencies and, JAG officer. He's got the cred to do that. I just let him loose.
I agree totally, Gary. Good to hear from you. 800-655-MIKE, one open line. That's the winning ticket. I've said it all along, and I know I'm right. I'm sorry. I don't want to sound like a narcissist, but you tell me what's wrong with the Trump-DeSantis ticket. Listen, it'd be hard for Florida because we'd hate to lose him as the governor. Incidentally, don't get down the rabbit hole about how it wouldn't be allowed because they're both from Florida. Trump has a home in New York. It would take his lawyers 3 minutes to change his official residency from Florida to New York. That's not an obstacle. That's a myth. People don't get that. They don't understand it. So don't worry your pretty little head about that. That's a non-issue. And Trump and DeSantis would be the dream ticket that would guarantee a substantive win on November the 5th. And because let me tell you something, if we had 4 years of Donald Trump and 8 years of Ron DeSantis in the White House, you got our country back. You've got our country back. Incidentally, a little bit of breaking news. RFK Jr. will not be at the presidential debate a week from today in Atlanta. He has failed to qualify. So his campaign's fallen apart. He's kind of a one-trick pony. A lot of Americans like him because of his anti-vaccine stance, but you get into what RFK Jr. stands for, I mean, he is just a typical radical leftist on everything. So, he doesn't need to be, he's just his distraction, and thankfully he will not be on that debate stage Thursday night. It'll just be Trump. It'll just be Biden. No audience. Mics are going to be muted. It's going to be quite the interesting night because Trump is going to get under Biden's skin. We'll be right in the middle of it all. Seb Gorka, Hugh Hewitt, and I will be hosting our debate watch party for AM 920 The Answer in Atlanta. You can get tickets, am920theanswer.com. It's a limited VIP broadcast. We're going to be at the Hilton Garden Inn and Suites just down the street from where the debate is going to take place. We're going to have special guests. We're going to have food. We're going to have fun. You'll be part of history. Go to am920theanswer.com for tickets. Linda in Ormond Beach, Florida. Hi, Linda. How are you?
Hi, Mike. I'm great.
Good.
I believe Ron DeSantis is going to be the nominee for vice president. I thought he was going to win the nomination for the presidency. He's Ron DeSantis all the way. I love what he did for us here in Florida. Down to earth fella.
Smart as a whip. Great on policy. I mean, look at the battle with Disney. He completely beat Disney. He
most certainly did.
And that takes a lot to defeat a behemoth like the Disney organization. And he did.
You got that right.
Yep, and he did.
Yep.
It was game, set, match. All right, Linda, good hearing from you. Let's see what others think. I mean, really, it makes me crazy when things are so easy to understand. They're right in front of us. Lots of people are texting me wondering about the whole concept of elder abuse. That's a question that John in Phoenix has over Joe Biden. And, we'll see how he does next week at the debate. But every single day, we're seeing another example of just how feeble and how infirm he is. The latest video is him struggling to get into the back of a Chevrolet Suburban. Hey, John, welcome to the program. How you doing?
Hi.
Hi.
Doing good.
Good.
I just confused because if anybody else or if any of us were to treat our family members or whoever in this manner, we would be charged with elder abuse.
Yeah, it's the reason he's going to step down. I guarantee you they're going to say by convention time, because of his health, because of his condition, for the sake of his family, he's going to be willing to step down and let somebody else be on the ticket. I'm firmly convinced of that. Aren't you?
Well, with what's going on today, I'm not convinced of anything.
That's true.
Everything's upside down.
It is, and it's common sense. I mean,
family matter. If we were to treat our parents, there could be charges brought against us for being abusive. No,
it's not an unreasonable thing to say. People of compassion, and we ought to have compassion. I want Joe Biden to live, to be 110. I don't want any ill will for him. I don't wish any ill will towards him. Why isn't his wife concerned about what they're putting this man through? And right now he's going to be on a stage with Donald Trump. Trump is going to eviscerate him. The whole claim or the whole narrative about Trump, I saw Maggie Haberman, the New York Times reporter, who supposedly always has the big scoops on Trump. Allegedly, Trump felt that he interrupted Biden too much last time. I'm not real sure that President Trump ever has remorse or introspection over any of his performances. At the end of the day, I guarantee you he was probably ready to go, and said that he did a great job, and he'll be all over Biden next week. This debate is going to be one for the ages. Now, I don't know what it's going to look like format-wise, because with no audience, there'll be no cheering or booing or anything. There'll be muted microphones, which means that the only person you'll hear at any given time will be either Trump or Biden. And so it's going to be kind of a weird atmosphere, I think. But ultimately, it could make or break Biden's presidency if they keep him, all set to go, if they got him pumped up with something, or if they've got it, because they are panicking about poll numbers. Now, I know there's a Fox News poll that came out yesterday that now shifted and shows Biden up by 2 points. But also on Fox News I guess this was actually over on another network, I think CNN, but I want to play it because he's a pollster, Frank Luntz. A lot of people pay attention to what he says. He's been refreshingly candid over the deficiencies of the Biden polling. And here's what he says about a very, very shocking poll for the Democrats.
To me, it's not that Donald Trump is winning so big in Iowa. That's not the story. It's that he's making it close in Minnesota. Minnesota is a reliable Democratic state. It votes Democrat in every presidential campaign. And poll after poll, I see Trump within 2 or 3 points in Minnesota. I don't think the media understands exactly what's going on right now. Yes, Trump dropped a few points after being found guilty on 34 felony accounts. But remember this, that would have destroyed any candidate as recently as 10 years ago. And the fact that Donald Trump is still even with, or in some cases leading Joe Biden after being found guilty of 34 felonies, oh my God, that is so significant.
Luntz, I think, is absolutely right. A normal candidate in ordinary times, a guy getting convicted of 34 felonies would end the candidacy that day. It wouldn't even be close. He'd have zero polling. It would be over. It'd be completely over. And this Iowa polling is astounding. This was conducted by one of the most reputable pollsters in America. It's a woman. I forget her name. He's up by 18 points in Iowa. Trump is up 18 points. Now, what Frank Luntz is referring to are the states of the swing states, or the key battleground states of Minnesota and Wisconsin. And the argument is, if Trump is dominating that wildly in a state like Iowa, it's very conceivable that he'll win Wisconsin and or Minnesota. If he starts taking states like Wisconsin and Minnesota, it's over.